I call this UDOT Transportation Commission meeting this Friday, March 19, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. And with this, we are the satellite. And welcome everyone. Let us start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please all rise and see the flag behind my desk if you can. And if not, I will post this. So I will utter the pledge. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
to
to
the
the flag of the United States of America and to
and
the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation under God,
in
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much for doing that. One item of the housekeeping as usual. Please be patient, and I will just read this disclaimer. Utah Department of Transportation Commission electronic meeting disclaimer. The March 2021 meeting of the Utah Transportation Commission will be conducted electronically. It will only be accessible by electronic means. There will not be space or facilities to attend the open portion of the meetings in person, as the chair has determined that an anchor location presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location due to the ongoing state of emergency related to COVID-19. The chairman has determined that an anchor location will gather interested persons and members of the public in a single confined location where the risk of the further spread in COVID-19 are greater. Interested parties may access a live broadcast of the meeting at youtube.com/UtahDOT. So as you know, this meeting was supposed to be in sunny St. George / beautiful city of Washington. And we did have that beautiful sun that we promised you, but unfortunately, due to COVID, we are gonna try to do it maybe next time. But by tradition, we have the mayor of the city of Washington, Mayor Nelson, is online right now with us. And he has he has gracefully accepted to welcome the UDOT family and the commission to his city via even satellite. Mayor, good
Can you hear
morning.
me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we welcome you virtually to Washington, Utah, one of the fastest growing communities in the state. And as a result of that, we want to thank all you, excuse me, commissioners in the state that have generously and graciously allowed us to have funding to expand our roads, improve our roads, and, you know, in the future, have new roads and a possible new off-ramp here in Washington City. It is a gorgeous day. It's only going to be about 72, so, you know, and beautiful, and the blossoms are out. Again, you know, I've been the mayor a while, and I recognize a lot of your faces, and it's good to see that. And but again, thank you so much for all that you do, not only for Washington City, but for Southern Utah in general. You all know that we're growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of all the mayors that we're grateful for the funding that you've allowed for us to expand. I mean, you've got that one going clear over in Hurricane, that Southern Parkway connection, and you know, I recall the Bluff Street and our Washington City Telegraph expansion, and all those. Thanks again, and we hope you have a great day today and enjoy the rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. You're not off the hook. Remember, this is the rain check for next time.
You got it. And if y'all want to come earlier, I know the mayor, and he loves to golf.
Okay. We'll take up on that. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for being with us. So with that introduction and welcome, let us go with the introduction of our commission and also the UDOT family. We will go in the order of seniority. Let's start with the Commissioner Barlow. Please state your name and your responsibility and jurisdiction.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Wayne Barlow. I represent Region 1, which are the 6 northernmost counties of the state, from Box Elder down through Davis County. I live in Cache Valley, and right now I'm at Bear Lake, and we're expecting a heat wave here today, 48 degrees.
Beautiful. Thank you. Commissioner Kramer.
Good morning, Lou Kramer, Commissioner at Large. I live in downtown Salt Lake, but I'm blessed to be a citizen of this great state of Utah. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Law.
Donna Law. I am a Commissioner at Large, and my home is in Cedar.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans.
Good morning, Jim Evans. I live in Orem. I represent Region 3, which is the central part of the state from Utah and Juab and Wasatch counties all the way up to Duchesne, Uintah, and Daggett counties. So it's great to be with all of you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Tassel.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kevin Van Tassel. I live in Vernal, Utah, and I'm on my way to St. George, so we'll see you later today, but it's good to be here. I'm a Commissioner at Large.
Thank you, and we will welcome you. Just tell us when we'll have the red carpet for you. Commissioner Gardner.
Thank you, Nagi. Natalie Gochner. I represent Region 2, which is Salt Lake and Summit counties. Great to be with you this morning.
Thank you. And my name is Nagi Zinati, serving as the chair and chiming this morning from sunny and beautiful St. George. Thank you all. And we also recognize our federal partner. Today will be all guests, maybe solo. Ivan Marrero. Brigitte Mandel is on her assignment in someplace in East Coast. We wish her well. Carlos, would you please introduce our UDOT family?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Carlos Braceras, Executive Director of the Utah Department of Transportation. I'm going to introduce some of the folks, and then I'll turn time over to our 2 deputy directors to introduce their folks. So I'll start with Terry Newell. She's Deputy Director of Planning and Investment. Why don't you guys wave your hand when I say? And then Lisa Wilson, Deputy Director for Engineering and Operations. I see also on the line Linda Hall. Linda, she doesn't have her camera on there, but Linda Hall, she's our Director of Policy. And Grant Potter, he's taking care of the technology interface between the Google Meets and the YouTube transmission. And I think that's all I saw from my folks. So I'll turn the time over to Terry to introduce her team.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Carlos. I'm going to try to do this without missing anyone today. Let's see if I can do that. We have Ben Hewitt, who is Director of Programming. We have Eileen Barron, who is our Communications Manager for Programming and Planning. We have Heather Barthold, who is the Commission Assistant. We have Ivan Hartle, who is our Programming Director. We have Jordan Lee, who works in our Technology Group. We have Nathan Lee, who is our Director of Technology and Innovation. We have Bob Pelly. Bob, I'm not going to forget you this time. I may put you on my list for sure. Thanks, Bob. Bob is our STIP coordinator. We have Carrie Ann Noble, who works with us in technology, and we have Andrea Olson, who is our Director of Planning.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning. We have Brad Palmer, our Region 2 Program Manager, Brett Slater, Region 1 Program Manager, Charles Stormont, our Right-of-Way Director, Cheryl Simmons, our Structures Director, Cade Roberts, our Region 4 Program Manager, Chris Peterson, our Project Development Director, Monty Aldridge, our Region 4 Deputy Director, Nathan Peterson, Region 2 Deputy Director, Rick Torgerson, Region 4 Director, Rob Clayton, Region 3 Director, Robert Stewart, Region 2 Director, and Troy Peterson, our Operations Director.
Wonderful. That is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so yesterday at the end of our meeting, I asked every one of us to get their shots to be ready for possible August in-person meetings. Right after that, I received this text from good friend said, Mr. Chairman, I get 2 shots of tequila every night. Does that count? No, it doesn't. Not even shot of B12. So please, vaccine. Forget about the shots. Vaccines. Get your vaccines, 1, 2, or whatever brands you want. Please, let us get in the right track. Thank you very much. Item number 2 in your agenda is legislative project update, and Terry Newell will present that item. Thank you, Terry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we looked at some documents yesterday in the presentation, but I'm going to take you now to the commission portion of our website. And we have the lists of projects on the website, and we have, just want to show you that location. So let me just go back up to the top of it. So this is the commission's portion on our website. If you scroll down, we now have a section called programming. We have our workshop presentations listed here. So if you want to review back through those, we have the funding overview that Becky gave. We have the project programming piece that I gave, and then we have the program summary that Nate and Ivan gave yesterday. So right below that, I'm going to pull each of these lists up. Our point of showing this and having the lists at this location is so that we make sure that we're very transparent and have everything accessible to the public and make sure that people have the ability to comment. That's part of the role, is to collect these comments, make sure that you guys are aware of the comments that the public has about any of these projects, and you can take some of that into consideration as you think about approval of programming. So we have the state roads legislated projects. And I think this is going to come up with the font really small, but the idea is just that everybody would know how to find these projects. So these were listed in HB 433, source of funds, general funds for fiscal 22. And these projects will total $705 million. And we will, over the next month, be working on the scope and the cost estimates for each of these projects, so we can come back to the commission in April and present those to you with the idea that we would approve that list in May. So that these projects are all listed in legislation. So the commission doesn't get to change this list, but you will approve the dollar amounts associated with them.
Terry, could you please enlarge your screen if you can a little bit? Thank you.
Okay. So now I'll close that one. And the next one we talked about were the projects from the Transportation Investment Fund. Wait for that to come up. So these would be, this list was created from our ranked list that we've been talking about for probably the last year and a half. And this was the summary we had of the projects that we would expect to be able to program if we program through fiscal 29 and partially into fiscal year 30. So we do have a list of projects from the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, the urban areas of the state. And then we also have some projects listed from the non-MPO area, which would represent some of our rural areas. So this is the list that we would like to recommend as we go forward. We would also put scope and estimate to these projects. We would bring that list back to the commission in April with the dollar amounts and put those out for public comment. And then we would request approval on that list in the May commission meeting. And then the third item is active transportation. So I'll click on that one. And this list is a little bit different. This is the list that we're going to be able to choose from. These are our regionally important active transportation projects. So we've talked about this list previously, and this list would be the source of projects for a legislated $35 million of fiscal 22 money. That does come with a required 20% match from local government. This process is going to take us a little bit longer to work our way through. So it will have, we will be working on ranking the list. And then as we get to September, that would be the time frame that we would have approved projects from this list. And then I'd just like to show you below those lists, we do have a very large button that says submit comment. So we want to make sure that people know how to comment on this process and on these projects. I do believe that we will start to have many more comments as we work our way through these projects. So probably the public comment portion of our meetings may take a little bit longer than usual once we start getting into some of these lists. So that's all I have for you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of the project lists, where they're located, and how they can comment on them so that we can bring all those comments back to you and you can take that into account as we approve projects moving forward.
Do we have any question from Terry? Good job as usual. Thank you, Terry. Okay. Before I go to the next agenda, I would like to also remind you that any of those public that they are available today, the mayors and the local leaders of the Washington County or any other counties of the state, if you have anything to say, we'll have the opportunity on the item number 6, public comment. So we welcome you and thank you for being here with us today. Item number 3 in the agenda is FHWA report. Ivan Marrero will present that item. Ivan, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Ivan Marrero, the Division Administrator for the Highway Administration here in Utah. And just want to present, it's been kind of slow on our end this month. So I just have one item to present to the Commission. And yes, like Mr. Chairman, like you mentioned, Brigitte Mandel, my deputy, on Monday, she started a 90-day assignment in West Virginia, so she's serving as the division administrator over there. So they're very lucky to have her, but it is a temporary assignment, I've been assured. So we'll have her back. Can everybody, let me see, share presentation. Let me share my screen here with you and just, here we go. Okay, so just the only thing I have to announced to the Commission this morning is that this week UDOT received a grant for $1.25 million under the Surface Transportation System Funding Alternatives Grant Program. So it will be used for the road usage charge program, or the RUC. Looks like they're looking to optimize some of the service. So and there's the description. So that fund will be available to you to continue that excellent program. A little bit of background on the STSF program. This was set up back in 2016 under the FAST Act. And it's intended to be used to help states explore different ways or mechanisms to supplement the current highway trust fund funding. So user fee type of program, that's kind of what we hope the funds will be used for. It's been funded at, it started with $15 million in 2016, and then for each of the next 4 years, $20 million was available for each of those years. The federal share of the program is limited to 50%. And since its creation back in 2016, we've been able to fund 37 projects and for a total of $73.7 million. So it's been a very popular program since its initiation. For Utah has over the last 3 years they've received these grants under this program. So it all started back, I think it was 2018, 2019, when they got this 1.25 million to start the RUC program, and then since then they've received these other three grants. UDOT is also part of the Western Users Charge Consortium, which they've also received about I don't know, about 1.2 million dollars or so. So again, we are very happy to be able to assist UDOT as they explore these alternative ways of funding for highway work. And that is all I have for you today. Are there any questions? How do I stop? There we go.
Well, I don't have any question, but I have a comment, Ivan. Remember that old adage President Reagan used to repeat? The 14 most frightening words in the American dictionaries that I am from federal government and I'm here to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ivan is really, truly defying that statement. He's a good guy. He's one of us and we love him and appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you for your partnership and your service. Thank you.
Thank you. I
Chairman,
am
I have a
very,
question.
very pleased to be able to work with you. That.
I have a
Commissioner
Barlow, in case, they may have something special for you later. I won't say anything. Then.
Okay. Commissioner
I'll say
Barlow,
what.
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that Ivan could answer this, but I'm wondering if somebody at UDOT has any idea of the current fleet of electric and hybrid vehicles. I know it's a growing number and we've talked about it in other meetings. Carlos, do you have anything on that?
Yes, Commissioner. Linda, are you listening? Do you have the latest numbers? I think we're a little over 3,000. She may not have.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I forgot I didn't have my earbud in. Yeah, we have just over 3,000 vehicles enrolled in the program. I don't have the breakdown at hand, how many are hybrids versus EVs versus plug-in EVs, but just over 3,000 vehicles currently enrolled.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you, Ivan, again for your report. Item number 4 in your agenda is the UDOT scoreboard, and Peterson Brothers will do the presentation.
Thank you, commissioners. I'm going to assume that I get to go first. Troy, I spoke up
Yes,
first,
you
so
are.
I guess I'm going to go. Today, I'm going to try it with my headphones on. I've been told sometimes my audio is a little quiet, so hopefully this is a little better than normal. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Today, I'll navigate to my presentation from the home page, just so that everyone can see the source of the data. So if you scroll to the strategic direction from the home page, it'll take you there to a beautiful movie that I've seen about 1,000 times now, as we see those cars drive on some of the roads on our highway. As you scroll down, there's a section down here for the Transportation Commission. And I will present today off of the project development page. Full disclosure, Commissioner Van Tassel asked me to go really fast because he wants to get on the road and to get to St. George. So he said he would offer me some kind of premium after if I can get you guys out of here early. So I'll do my best to meet his expectations. Currently, we have 4 projects past due, and we are expecting to advertise another 12 projects within the next 60 days. Again, total of about 630 projects that the commission has approved for us to work on, and that number generally stays fairly consistent in that 600 number as we get new projects approved and as we complete and close out older projects. If you'll remember last month, we were 95% on time. We talked a little bit about our on-time advertising success, and we've dropped down 1%. So we want to be clear, full disclosure, we were 95 down, we're 94. Our goal is to get it back. But we're still meeting the goal of 85%. We're still super excited and pleased with the success and the ability of our teams to work through the adversities and the challenges that they have in every project. Since the 1st of February, we've advertised just over 17 projects for just under $54 million. And let me scroll down to. All right, so our advertising status, you can see from the bar chart that we are working diligently towards through the peak of the advertising season. We're doing quite well. We do have some projects, you'll notice, that we're still addressing some scope issues that are in the blue that we're scheduled to go out in December. So because we haven't formalized their advertising dates and the scope of those projects, they show as blue in the past. And as soon as the regions are able to pin down that scope and their estimates and their budgets, they'll go ahead and switch those over to anticipated to be advertised. So that's doing well. We are aware of the 4 projects that are late. Some have right-of-way issues. One of them is a data issue that shouldn't be on the list, and so the regions are working to get rid of that. So we are working very closely as a team to try and keep all those issues to a minimum for sure. So currently, as this loads, we have under contract about $2.8 billion under contract, 163 projects. You'll notice that we talked about this in November. We added a significantly large project that added quite a bit to the total. And you can see that those trends are staying somewhat consistent through the course of the year. We always have about 150 to 180 projects under contract. Our contractor payments, if you'll notice that on the right of that chart, over this past year, we've talked, our payments have been higher than traditional. I expect, again, particularly with House Bill 433 and some of the projects that we have under contract, we'll see another banner year of payments to contractors as they complete the work that we have contracted with them to do. And then I will just quickly show one other chart as it loads. And you can see our advertising versus bid tallies, and recognize that over November and December, October, we've seen great bids relative to what we would have estimated the projects would cost us. We're happy about that. However, we are starting to see prices increase, and we're watching that and monitoring that closely to make sure that we're aware of what the anticipated costs will be as we advertise our projects, to make sure that we're accounting for that in the budgets. So with that, I'll open up for any questions that anyone may have.
Any question from Chris? You did good. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
It doesn't appear from the data you've presented that there's been much of an impact of COVID on our activities. Could you comment on that, Chris?
Certainly, there has been impact, but I think if you were to measure it relative to the scope and scale of the entire program, we've been able to weather the storm quite well. Our contractors, our teams have worked very hard to make sure that they are following all the appropriate precautions to make sure that any impact they do have is minimal, and they're able to mitigate it and manage it. We have had projects that have seen some delay. We have had projects where people have tested positive and they've had to shut down certain work activities. Some of our suppliers have seen a reduction in capacity to manufacture products that we need. So we have seen some delay. Fortunately, overall, it hasn't been catastrophic or devastating to us. It's been manageable.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Chris. You were much audible this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Troy, you have the con.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, commissioners. I'm going to do my Verizon check here as well. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen real quick here. Okay. You should be seeing the website that Chris navigated to with a nice little video that we've all seen plenty of times. We're going to focus. I've got a kind of a short little update for you today on the 0 fatalities. We're going to focus on from our strategic goals. We'll venture over here to to our fatality rate. Now, Utah traffic fatalities increased in 2020 by about 11%. To a total of 276. You can see from the graph here. We've talked about that before. This number happened despite an increase or a decrease of cars on our roads of about 13%. the uptick in fatalities and lower VMT result in about a 28% increase in our fatality rate. These are things we've talked about in the past. Things that we probably would not have expected to happen. You know, when we think about the pandemic and fewer cars on the road, it's kind of shocking. And to be honest, you know, I got another graph I want to bring up here real quick. Can you guys see this one? This is kind of showing the fatalities from 2000 to 2020, and hopefully that's coming through clear. You can see in the background here, you've got the VMT that's also laid behind the actual fatalities. I just wanted to show that comparison. You can kind of see how that trend looked in from year 2000 to 2020. Let me jump back to our traffic fatalities. So this out of the way here. Okay. So one of the things that I mentioned, we haven't, the situation hasn't improved this year. We're at 50 fatalities for the year already. Last year in 2020 through March, we'd had 46 fatalities, which, you know, that's not something we want to see. And then let me jump over here. We've also had an increase in serious injuries. We've shown this graph before. We saw about a 15% increase in serious injuries. The one bright spot, I guess, if you want to look at it, if there's a bright spot in this whole thing, is we did see a reduction in overall crashes of about 18% in 2020. You can see that number there. And so one of the things I just kind of want to mention today is we've mentioned this statistic before, where human behaviors contribute to about 94% of all crashes. Those behaviors include distracted driving, aggressive driving, driving drowsy, impaired driving, and not wearing a seatbelt. Our Zero Fatalities team conducted research, and we mentioned a little bit of this last month, but some of the insight that we learned from this research was how we as Utahns behave behind the wheel, and this research suggests Utahns, we care about safety on our roadway. One of the other things that was kind of shocking, or things we learned, is that it revealed that we as a society, we make excuses and little lies to justify reckless behaviors behind the wheel. In an effort to turn around this trend, this past week, Director Berceras, along with Commissioner Anderson from DPS, launched a new campaign, which is running on TV, radio, social media, and with a fitting title of "Our Lies Cost Lives." Now, hopefully, everybody's had a chance to see this. If you don't, this actual commercial, or this PSA, is actually on our website, on our homepage. So I'm not going to show it here, but you can, if you haven't seen it, you can always navigate to it and watch it. And Director and Carlos said it best earlier this week, was we can all do better. So as a reminder, when we're driving, to buckle up, be alert, be focused, calm, and sober. That's all I really had for today. If there's any questions that you have, I'm ready to answer whatever you might have.
Troy, how long is this video that you just showing?
It is about 30 seconds.
Carlos, do you mind if we watch it as a commission, just in case we don't have an opportunity to watch it later, or will this kind of like?
Mr. Chairman, of course, it's your prerogative.
Commission, would you like to do that? Yes, please. Troy?
Okay, I'm gonna be testing my technology skills here, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
We understand. Thank you.
Okay. Oh boy. No noises coming through.
Well, at least we can see the pictures. That's okay too.
It's let me see something here. Maybe my volume needs to be cranked up. Let me try one more thing here.
Okay.
Oh, that's not it.
If you unshare and reshare your tab,
Say that one more time.
if you unshare and reshare your tab instead of your screen or your,
Okay, let's try that.
then usually that will work if you share the tab.
Stop sharing. Nothing better than trying to navigate through this live here. Okay, let's see. Now reshare the tab, huh?
Yes.
I can see Elizabeth ready to take over. So Elizabeth, help.
Okay.
All right, this will be just an attempt if Troy taps out.
Okay.
I have confidence in you, Troy.
Boy,
you can.
Might be the only one right now. I'm not sure what you're seeing right now. Is it showing up?
Yeah, the screen's showing up, but it's just no voice yet. There you go.
Reading's just in my nature.
I've always just had a left foot.
To be honest,
it's terrible.
Try better high.
I'm a multitasker. Texting without for hours. I feel my parents never wear their drivers speak much
I mean, when I drive for
Good job. Thank you.
I apologize if the sound wasn't that great.
No, it was good. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it very much.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Please, go ahead.
The question I have is, those deaths that occur off highway, are they rolled into the total that we look at? I think we had one up by Manaway yesterday that was off-road and up on a peak. Does that roll into our numbers?
So the question is if there's a fatality not on a state road or a local road?
Yes. Out on a forest road or trail or something like that. I don't know. I might have asked that question before, but I was just wondering.
That's a good question, Kevin. I believe that we do roll all white fatalities into our number from
that are Troy, that are on public roads.
Public roads. Okay, yes. So yeah, so if it's on
any public road, national, state, local, but like parking lots would not be included.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Any other question from Troy? Thank you. Item number 5, your agenda is a grants update, and Ben Hewitt will be presenting that item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Ben Hewitt, Program Development Director. I share my screen. So this is the UDOT homepage, and I'm going to navigate down to the Transportation Commission section. And then at the bottom, there's a link to grant information. So I've got 4 items to status update today. The top item is a item that's been on this list for quite a while, and it is remaining on this list. It is an Accelerated Innovation Deployment Grant application that UDOT has submitted. I believe I think it's been over a year since that one has been submitted, but I know that Chris's team in project development has been checking in with FHWA, and that is still a pending grant application at this time. So I just wanted to point that out, that'll stay on the list until we hear of some sort of status, or until we hear of an award or a non-award on that project. The next item down is the grant that Ivan Marrero talked about that UDOT was awarded. That is a STSFA grant related to the road usage charge. And Ivan Marrero, thank you for the description on that one. And that is listed here, shown at 1.25 million. And that one is from a commission standpoint, it's a for information only. There won't be any needed commission action going forward on that one because the match source is within the engineering services line item on that specific grant. The third item down is a Infrastructure for Rebuilding America, or INFRA grant application that was submitted, that UDOT submitted yesterday. This one we talked about, I believe the last time we had a grant update, where there was an initial notice of funding opportunity and then it was withdrawn and then re-advertised on that for that grant program. And it did have a very short time frame on that, but I just want to give thanks to the team, both internal to UDOT, our external partners, and our consultant partners for being able to put that grant together. That is a grant for a project to connect a shared use path on 56 West and create a grade separated crossing of I-80 that would connect into the International Center in that area. And so there's some links here. I will just click on the fact sheet really quick, if that's showing up. So there's a fact sheet there that kind of shows the basic concept of that project. And then the last one, I just wanted to keep this on the radar, is the build grant. This is another one similar to the infra grant, where it was initially released, but then it was withdrawn. And that one, we are awaiting a revised notice of funding opportunity. And I put some information here in the notes that I think the statutory deadline for that one is April 26th. So we do anticipate that in the near future, and we're awaiting that notice of funding opportunity. Those are the 4 items. Is there any question that I can answer related to grants?
Commissioner Kramer.
Ben, thank you for that. I appreciate what's happening in the Inland Port Northwest Quadrant. What does non-motorized mean, though, on the access project? Does that mean it's
pedestrian and bike? It's a pedestrian or bike type crossing of I-80 that connects that shared use path from one side of I-80 to the other.
Okay, it's not a railroad. Okay, got it. That's good. I'd like to see progress there. Thank you.
Well, Ben, what about the e-bikes? How do you manage to classify those now? We have every one of those guys just getting on the streets and using our roadways. We don't know they're the bike. We don't know their motorcycle. We don't know their car. So they're...
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting conversation going on. And I do not know all the answers, but I know that the regulations or the where those are allowed and not allowed somewhat vary depending on the type of facility and the ownership of the facility. For example, national forest versus roadways and everything. And so I think that's an interesting area, and I think there's a lot of things that everybody's learning on those types of modes.
So, okay, Natalie, go ahead, please.
As an avid e-biker, I'll just also make the point that there's a real difference between an e-bike that's pedal assisted and one that is not. And so it's even more complicated than you think.
Okay, thank you for clarification. Any other
Some of
questions?
them you can just push a button and go, and others you have to pedal to get assistance.
Okay. Any other questions from Ben? Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Go collect all the money that they owe us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6 on the agenda is public comments. And so far we have received one written comment that Eileen Barron will read that. And then we invite the public to join us if they have any kind of comments, transportation related items. Welcome back, Eileen.
Well, thank you. Good morning, commissioners. We have one letter today. It is from the Transportation Director at Salt Lake City, John Larson. And so Ivan's going to bring that up for you to see. And I'll just read through this so it's recorded in our records. Transportation Commission members, I wanted to take a moment during the public comment period of the March 19 meeting to express appreciation for the partnership and support from the state for Salt Lake City transportation needs. A thriving capital city is a benefit to the entire state. As our great city continues to grow, the need for a truly multimodal transportation system becomes more important each year. The state TIF allocations committed in 2020 for improved active transportation and public transit capacity on 300 West and 600 North will help us stretch our dollars and do much more than we would otherwise have been able to do on these corridors. The 300 West corridor is rapidly changing before our eyes, spurred by new development, particularly housing. Soon, these new residents to Salt Lake City will have a safe and comfortable bike route to parks, jobs, shopping, etc. The state investment will allow us to extend the protected bike lane 6 extra blocks from 900 South to 300 South, allowing for high comfort bike lanes that serve people of all ages and abilities from Pioneer Park to the southern city limit. 600 North is a corridor that divides the Rose Park and Fair Park neighborhoods. These are neighborhoods that are close to downtown, but can feel far away due to the freeways and railroads that act as barriers, particularly for those who can't afford a car. Salt Lake City and UTA have partnered to launch new bus service on this corridor in August 2022 that will connect into the heart of the city. This frequent service will run all day, every day. The investment from the state will help ensure that this bus route operates efficiently and that walking to and waiting at the bus stops will be a safe, comfortable, and dignified experience. For the upcoming year, we ask that you consider continued investments in critical projects in Salt Lake City. I'd like to draw your attention to 2 projects in particular, which are next up on our priority list that was submitted last year. Main Street High Comfort Bike Lanes. While working with UDOT staff on the Life on State project, it became clear that State Street is a challenging corridor for bicycling, even though demand for biking to and from the adjacent businesses is high. It was suggested that Salt Lake City and South Salt Lake consider making Main Street a high comfort bike facility. With help from a Salt Lake County grant, we have begun a collaborative process to flesh out a design for bike lanes on Main Street that would be attractive and safe for all ages and abilities. 400 South Viaduct Trail. Over the past year, UDOT and Salt Lake City have partnered to develop a preliminary design and cost estimate for this project. There aren't many opportunities to cross both I-15 and the railroads on bike or on foot. These literal barriers cut off some of the lowest income neighborhoods in the city from economic, social, educational, and other opportunities. The 400 South Viaduct and Freeway Interchange provide an opportunity for a connection. However, it's an uncomfortable and confusing path that few are willing to take on. This project would provide a safe and convenient trail to connect the Poplar Grove neighborhood with downtown and other destinations east of I-15. Thanks again for your time, support, and consideration. John Larson, PE, Director of Salt Lake City Transportation Division.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, please, Carlos.
I'm going to put Eileen on the spot a little bit. Eileen, we just both received an email from Heather with another comment.
Okay.
It's from Mr. Myron Lee.
Okay.
From the Dixie MPO.
And let's see.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. I just received the same text. So
Yep, I see it as well. I'm happy to also read this for everyone to hear.
Please.
This is addressed to Utah Transportation Commissioners and UDOT leadership. The Dixie MPO Executive Council recently met and expressed their enthusiasm for several projects called out by the 2021 Utah State Legislature, particularly the construction of the Tokerville Bypass Road and the widening of I-15 from milepost 6 to 8 and from milepost 10 to 13. We look forward to working with you to complete these key projects to the benefit of our regional transportation system. As always, we thank you for your support of our goals to improve safety and reduce congestion. Thank you, Myron Lee, Transportation Planning Director at the Dixie MPO.
Thank you, Eileen, for doing that. And thank you, Myron, for sending that one in. Do we have any other comments from public at this point?
Mr. Chairman, may I just congratulate Salt Lake City and John Larson for their collaboration, cooperation, communication. As a resident of downtown Salt Lake, I'm very, very appreciative of their new emphasis or the continued emphasis on this and the willingness to work together with us. So I thank you for the chance to have read that and know how much we appreciate it in our capital city.
Thank you, Commissioner. Go ahead, please, Commissioner Gardner.
Commissioner Kramer, thank you for that. I completely concur. We've got some really positive things happening in the capital city and in Region 2, and grateful for the legislature's support of that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other public comments? Anybody would like to address anything to the commission? I guess not. Then we'll move on. Thank you, everyone. All right, well, the item number 7 on your agenda is a consent agenda. Now, Ivan Harder will present that consent agenda to Commission.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. This morning, agenda item number 7 is the beginning of the consent agenda is the meeting minutes from the February 2021 meeting and the funding adjustments that have occurred during this month. Located in your packet again is the meeting minutes shown here. Both meetings. And at the bottom of our list, we do have one correction on our project list. Our West Davis corridor, the top project, the adjustment to award is shown as Region 2. It is actually a Region 1 project that we will correct.
Okay.
I'll scroll back to the top. Our request today is a motion to approve the adjustments to the projects in the included table and approve the 18 February staff update and 19 February 2021 commission minutes as detailed.
Mr. Chairman, I read through this material and I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written with that correction noted.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Evans. Commissioner Evans, I'd second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further corrections, modification? Go ahead, Donna, please. Unmute yourself, Donna.
No, every meeting. I just think that $30 million amount is worth clarifying of its return to from the Mountain West corridor.
Okay.
Yes, that's coming to the West Davis corridor.
Or West Davis corridor, sorry.
Chris, do you want to maybe Chris, would you put that in context? That amount relative, oh, he's going to put his ears in. Chris, did you hear me? Would you put that 31 million in context in terms of the total amount of the project?
I did. I'm plugged my earphones in, so it'll probably still over in a second. When that project did, bids came in about $70 million less than our project estimate. When we then reviewed the contingency that we needed to continue forward with the project budget and the estimates, we determined that we can return $30 million, and we feel that we safely have enough funds left in the project to continue forward with any change orders we may see. So we wanted to not hold on to any more in that project than we needed to, so we returned it back to the funds so that it can be used for other projects.
Chris, what's the total value of that project?
Man, now you're really putting me on the spot. That contract was 700-ish. And so this is what, $30 million off of that 700 is actually a fairly small portion of the overall budget of the project. I'm not going to try the math on the fly like that. I'm not going to do that.
I just think it's worth mentioning favorable bids.
Yes.
Carlos, the project value for this project is currently $788,979,000. So
Thank you, Robert. Yes, this was, I think it speaks to the competition that was set up on this project. This was a best value project selection, and the team did a great job. We had 3 very, very competent teams competing for this project.
I just love lifelines of the UDOTs. Thank you, everyone. You're so wonderful.
Thank you.
And whenever you finish your question, please lower your hand so I do not be confused that you have any questions or comments. Thank you, Donna. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the item number 7, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item number 7 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item number 8, item 8A1, excuse me, is the SR 2009. It's 90th South, Redwood Road, 700 West, a funding addition of $35 million of TIF. At the January 24th, 2020 Transportation Commission, at the request of UDOT, the commission approved reallocating $29 million of this project to assist with awarding the Bengal 3 interchange project. UDOT committed to requesting these funds be restored when additional funds were available. The original scope of this project is to widen the south side of the roadway and add 1 additional lane of traffic in each direction. The project would also add a 1-inch overlay over the existing pavement. This treatment would extend the life of the pavement by 7 years. During the design phase, it was discovered that the pavement was in worse condition than originally scoped. This scope change would require an additional $3.5 million. This 1-year delay has resulted in an additional $1.5 million of a material inflation and $1 million for right-of-way market costs. The total request to add is $35 million of TIF to this project. Located here on our map. Our request today is a motion to approve to add funds to the SR 209 90th South, Redwood Road to 700 West project as detailed.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Thank you.
This is Donna. I'll second.
Thank you, Donna. Ivan, would you please bring the chart back to the first page? I would like to ask the commission to pay attention to the action. Under the action says add TIF. This is a new item that we put it there. The UDOT was gracious enough to put that language to show the source of the money right at the first glance. So you know the money is coming from TIF or any other account or the local entities or communities. So at first glance, you will know what the amount of money and where it's coming from. Thank you for doing that, Carlos and Terry and Lisa. Thank you. That's very helpful. So we have a motion and a second on item number 8A-1. Any other questions, concerns? Question, Kramer.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to note that the material inflation is continuing everywhere. We're certainly seeing that. And I certainly support this because I think it's only going to continue higher. And I also note the $1 million extra for right-of-way is something that Charles Stormont and the Corridor Preservation have tried to prevent by preemptively buying those rights away in advance. So both of those things show some far-sighted preparation by the commission, by UDOT, and by us going forward. So I certainly do support this, but I do know this is the world we live in right now, and I'm grateful that we can be supportive of it at a time like this.
Yeah, those of us in the real estate market unfortunately recognize that this challenges, and we see it on a daily basis that how inflation is cut into this bidding war. So, but we have to do what we can to preserve our money and then preserve the right of ways. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of item 8A-1, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item 8A-1 is approved. Thank you.
Our next item actually contains both of those two messages. We'll be talking about the Bangalore 3 interchange, as well as the increase of the right-of-way market costs that we've experienced. Region 2 requests adding $10 million of the TIF program. The increased project funding will cover increased right-of-way market costs, which have escalated 20% from the original estimate. So $10 million, the current project value of $221 million. The projects located here on our map, 3 independent interchanges. Our motion and request for today is a motion for approval to add funds to the Bangalore 3 interchange project as detailed.
This is Wayne. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Kevin
Donna, I'll
seconds.
second.
Go ahead, Commissioner Van Tassel.
Commissioner Van Tassel seconds.
Okay. Any further questions, concerns, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8A-2 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is a local government project sponsored by Summit County, is the Jeremy Ranch Frontage Road Intersection Improvement Project. The scope of this project was to build 2 roundabouts, one on either side of the Jeremy Ranch exit at I-80. During construction, it was found that the subgrade was softer than anticipated, resulting in the need for additional stabilization material. This additional work also pushed the schedule into a second season of construction, increasing their project costs. Summit County is requesting to add $1.4 million of county funds to this project.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions, concerns regarding this item? Well, what a quiet neighborhood we have today.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll just say, it just shows how, I'm probably not on. It just shows how expensive these projects are. As a citizen, as a taxpayer, I'm just delighted we have the resources to do it because we need this, but it costs a bundle of money. I got that. We have that. So anyway, I'm certainly support it.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8A-3 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is also a local government project. Attached at the beginning is a letter from the city of Taylorsville for support to this project and this amendment. It is the Taylorsville Regional Trail between 5140 South and 5400 South. The scope of this project was to construct a new paved trail from 54 South to 5140 South, adjacent to 15. The project was originally funded using the TAP program funds from WFRC in 2017, but due to delays related to adjusting the no access line adjacent to I-215, the project was not ready to advertise until now. Because the project was delayed, requiring additional design and material cost inflation, the current estimate shows the additional funds are needed to construct this project. The city of Taylorsville is requesting to add $365,000 of city funds to the project to address this shortfall. The request today is contingent upon the approval of the Wasatch Front Regional Council in the meeting scheduled March 25th, 2021. Shown here on our map. And a picture of where that trail will be alongside 215. And our request today is approval to add funds to Taylorsville Regional Trail 5140 South to 5400 South as detailed, contingent upon the Wasatch Front Regional Council meeting on March 25th, 2021.
Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Muggy. I just help us understand the reason for the delay. It's, you mentioned delay to the no, whatever line, but what's the reason for the delay?
Okay, so Region 2 is the one who's been coordinating this. I don't know if it's fair to turn to Robert Stewart on this, or if we want to ask Charles to help bail out. Brad's there. Brad, are you prepared to
answer this one? So that no access line, it's typically the fence line adjacent to a freeway, and anytime that we need to adjust that fence or that line, we have to work through a process with FHWA to get approval on that. And sometimes that's takes a little bit of time. We've got to prepare right-of-way documents, revise get everything recorded with the county, and go through the whole right-of-way process. At times, it can be an iterative process as we work through design and try to find the best location for that trail along the corridor. And in this case, it just dragged on and on trying to get through that process, and those delays cost the time and additional funds that we're requesting today. I hope that answered it. I don't want to get into too many sticky details with it, but that's kind of the process.
Thank you.
And I'll add, we have made our way through that process now, so we are primed and ready to go. It is an iterative process. Anytime there's a mistake, it almost sends it back to the beginning, which can be time consuming, but it's the cost of doing it correctly.
Yeah, thank you. I only ask because you want to delay those as you can, and I'm just curious how the accountability works when you have those kinds of delays.
Sure. Well, at least we have a cooperation of the communities and the cities that they will also participate in this understanding of the delays and, helping with the money that we need to go ahead and get the projects done, which is a good news.
Yeah, and I will add, and for a worthy project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm happy to make the motion.
Please go ahead then.
So motion to support this.
Law second.
Okay. Any other further comments, questions? Then all in favor of this project, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8-A, item 8A-4 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 8A5, is the Vineyard Commuter Rail Station. This involves some of the funding that Terry has been talking about from our legislative session. The Vineyard Commuter Rail Station project was funded with $4 million of TIF funds in the 2018 legislative session. The initial funding accounted for the rail station only. Since the project was funded, UTA has been federally mandated to implement positive train control. Positive train control provides safeguards to prevent train collisions. To address this requirement, a technical study was completed by UTA modeling the commuter rail system. The study revealed that 2 miles of double tracking would be required north of the proposed Vineyard Commuter Rail Station, or it cannot be serviced without delays in the front runner system. The original scope to add double tracking was estimated and funded by UTA at $10 million. After adding the new scope and completing the design, it is now estimated that an additional $6.94 million is needed to complete the double tracking, and an additional $1.68 million is needed for the station. UTA has committed to add the additional required funds. The Mountain Land Association of Government Regional Planning Committee has approved this request at their March 4th, 2021 meeting. Shown here on our map, the proposed double tracking next to the future Vineyard Station. Our request today is a motion to approve the addition of funds to the Vineyard Commuter Rail Station as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I've had a chance to be in those meetings with Mountain Land, the regional folks, and I move for approval of this. It makes sense to add this.
Okay.
Barlow was second.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? It's a long descriptive project. And the Terry is here to give extra light if you want more explanation, but I think we have the detailed information about the project. And of course, Jim Evans is the attending commissioner for that project, so we can always assure that it's going explained right to us. So, but if you want, Terry was the project manager at the time. She can give us some more explanation.
Mr. Chairman, I'm certainly in support of it. I'm wearing my Utah Valley University tie. I just have to ask, what is the status of the overpass for pedestrians between Utah Valley University and the other side?
It's open. We had a ribbon cutting and it was supported by the community down there, and it's open.
Great, it's working. That's good. Even more reason to
Okay.
keep that whole area moving.
Any other questions? Then all in favor of this project, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8A-5 is approved. I have explanation to make at this agenda right now. Item number 6 that you will have to hear now was not originally posted, but we had information already provided to commission. And yesterday we heard that also explanation. And of course, Terry had contacted the legal counsel, and we've been informed since the information was provided in advance. Even though it did not make the agenda, we still can proceed. So item number 6 will be in the agenda today for your approval. Terry, is that going to have explanation? Okay.
Yes, that's that. We just inadvertently left it off the agenda, but the packet of materials it was part of your packet of materials. It just wasn't noticed on the agenda. So that got added yesterday morning to the formal agenda, but you guys had the materials for that previously, and those were available publicly. The materials were available previously. So we've updated the agenda yesterday morning to reflect that.
With that explanation, Ivan, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Item 8A6 is the Front Runner Commuter Rail Strategic Enhancements. It's a new project for UTA, a $300 million project. As a result of the Utah 2021 legislative session, $100 million of one-time funding will come through the TTIF program, and $200 million of transportation bond funding was approved for the strategic enhancements of the UTA Front Runner Commuter Rail. As part of the rail reliability, in service, and enhanced speed, frequency, and capacity, UTA has identified 3 necessary components: double tracking in strategic sections between Ogden and Provo, station improvements, and additional vehicles. By double tracking at strategic locations of the commuter rail, along with station improvements and the purchase of additional vehicles, Front Runner will increase peak hour frequency to 15 minutes at key stations between Ogden and Provo, reduce travel time on express trains, and increase seating capacity on peak hour trains from 8 cars to 14. The total estimated project cost is $350 million. This project is new to the UTA capital plan and requires early action to be amended into the TIP and STIP to enable potential federal funding for the remaining funds to make these Front Runner commuter rail strategic enhancements. The request today is contingent upon the approval of the Wasatch Front Regional Council in the meeting scheduled March 25th, 2021. I have a map here, includes the Front Runner map from UTA with the current stations. Our request today is a motion to approve adding the Front Runner Commuter Rail Strategic Enhancement Project as detailed, contingent upon the Wasatch Front Regional Council meeting on March 25th, 2021.
My comment is as a chair that Commissioner Law and I will be pleased to get the second phase from Provo to St. George, single track. You don't have to even worry about the double tracking, single track.
So true, Nagi.
Go ahead, please.
Commissioner Gochner, I just want to express my enthusiasm for this and would love to make the motion for it.
Thank you.
Barlow will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please, Carlos.
I see that Manjeet from UTA is on the line, so I didn't know if he wanted to say anything or remain quiet, but I wanted to give him that opportunity.
Go ahead, please. Yes, we welcome you to express whatever you like to say, anything that you can add, please.
Well, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Carlos. Manjeet Ranu, Director of Capital Development at UTA. Very appreciative of the motion and the support of the state legislature and the governor's office and all of our partners to improve this vital transportation facility. And we are already working in earnest to move forward with it. So I just wanted to say thank you. And we look forward to continuing to work with you and UDOT.
And Manjeet, you heard my comments, right? Provo to St. George. Don't worry about that.
I would agree with those. As an avid mountain biker, I would like to get down there more quickly.
Please. Especially if we're not going to have the state plane ready to come down and fly every place. Train will be great. We can do most of the jobs and our plannings in the train while traveling back and forth.
Agreed.
Yeah. Thank
Well
you.
done, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for comments.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? It's a great, worthy project. We need to do this and we need to really extend that as much as we can. Then I will ask your vote. All in favor of this project, number 6, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 8A-6 is approved. Thank you.
That completes our programming items for today. On behalf of the programming team, thank you for your support and for these actions.
And thank you, Ivan, for you and your team. Appreciate it. You do a good job as usual.
Thank you.
Item number 9 on your agenda is the famous one that you've seen or heard for many months. I promise you, if I read it, you will recognize it. If new transportation capacity project prioritization process. And you know the man behind that by the name of Ben Hewitt. And today he's going to ask you for your vote. You have talked, discussed, and doing all the stuff. And I think he has just the one single modification. After that, he's ready for approval. So Ben, you have the con.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning again, commissioners. I will
Good
present.
morning.
So as Mr. Chair mentioned, this is a follow-up to the for information only item that we covered last month of proposed revisions to the new transportation capacity project prioritization process document. It's a mouthful. So as we discussed last month, we have 3 bulleted point proposed revisions. The first one is a proposed revision to one of the measures in the TIF active transportation model. And then there are 2 technical corrections to the document that we discussed last time. The proposed revision to one of the measures in the TIF active transportation model is to replace the Strava measure, which Strava is a smartphone app related to active transportation, to replace that measure that we had been using with the active transportation demand model measure. I will note on this specific item that within this last month of our follow-up and comment period on this, we did work with some of our partners, and there was a suggested slight change to the name of this measure from active transportation latent demand to active transportation demand, which just more accurately describes what this measure is. So we do recommend that slight change in the title of this as part of the request. Then the 2 technical corrections, very briefly, we'd inadvertently swapped the percentage on 2 of the measures in the TIF highway model. As we talked about last time, this was not changed in the model or anything. It was just a inadvertent swapping in the document itself. So we want to correct that. And then very similarly, there was an incorrect label for a percentage on the strong economy measure in the TTIF last mile pie chart. So any questions on any of those, the proposed revisions?
I encourage everyone to ask the question now or the whole piece forever, because this is the last time you're going to see this document. Donna? No? Okay.
I'm ready to make the motion if you're ready to receive it, Mr. Chair.
I am ready. We've been waiting for this day for a long time.
I know, I just can't wait to see how happy Ben's going to be at the end. I'd like to make the motion to approve this agenda.
Thank you.
Seconds, enthusiastically.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments, questions and answers of anything that you have to offer? Anybody? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, thank you. Item number 9 is approved. Ben, you can take a short-term, long-term vacation if you want, because you're done for a while.
So noted. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Comments, go ahead.
Yeah, just, you know, I guess I appreciate the comments of maybe we overdid the process and the amount of times we talked about this, but I'd rather be accused of erring on this side than on the other side of surprise and unaware. So if it was too much, we apologize, but again, I'd rather err on this side. So thank you.
Carlos, I love education as much as you can give me, and I'm pretty sure Commission feels the same way. Please give us whatever you can to educate us, so we will be prepared to answer other people's questions the same way. Thank you, Ben. You've done wonderful, your team, and all those that have done a good job for the last several months. Thank you. It's a great accomplishment. Item number 10 is corridor preservation, and I think we have Charles Stormont on the con today, and he's going to explain one item, which is Mortgage Investment Trust of Utah.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. Are you able to see the budget and obligation sheet okay?
Yes.
So as is our custom, we'll do a quick overview of where the Marta Del Rey Corridor Preservation Fund stands. We have a balance forward of a little over 10.3 million. We've not had any reimbursements from the sale of surplus lands. Motor vehicle rental tax is down at just a hair from where we've seen it rebound at just under 300,000. Strong property management revenue, a little bit of interest income, total revenue of just under 400,000. We've had expenses of just over 46,000. And we have closed on the Openshaw parcel, which was approved at 470,000. Putting all of that together, we have a fund balance of just over 10.2 million. We have just under $6 million obligated but not dispersed. We will be talking about the Saunders sign relocation that has been on this list for quite some time, hopefully next month. We expect to de-obligate it. We've not been able to move that acquisition forward due to some underlying issues with how the land has been transferred. We have one item for you today that, if approved, at just under 1.1 million would leave a fund balance of just over 3.2 million. And with that, are there any questions on the status of the fund?
I don't see any. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So the one item we have today is a parcel of land located at 9250 North Sunset Drive in Eagle Mountain. It's currently vacant land owned by Mortgage Investment Trust of Utah. Let me get to the maps to give you a sense of where we are. This is a high-level overview. We're along SR 73 Sunset Drive, running north-south in this area. Here's an aerial overlay to give a little bit more context to where the specific parcel is located. The total parcel is just, it's approximately 6.2 acres. UDOT requires approximately 2.3 acres for the future widening of SR 73. It's along, again, the northwest corner of SR 73 and Sunset Drive. The owners have had this land for a little over 15 years. It is master planned for community commercial. A lot of the parcels that we've seen along this corridor have been zoned for residential or residential development. So this one has a higher intensity use than several that we've seen in the recent past. tidbit of information, Holiday Oil has recently purchased an adjoining parcel, suggesting development in this area is going to be speeding up even more than it already has, if that's possible. And this landowner, I will say, has been just a wonderful to work with. They've been patient with us as we've worked through some higher priority corridor preservation requests. They've had multiple interested buyers, but they've been willing to wait for us. So the 2.3 acres, one little thing we've noted in this orange area, that's a future construction easement. We are not acquiring that at this time. But we've noted it just so the landowner is aware that we anticipate we will need a little extra space to get the project built, hoping that maybe that'll turn into a landscape area that we can easily work on and doesn't become part of the development, hopefully with setback requirements and Eagle Mountain, that won't be an issue. But we are not acquiring that TCE at this time, but we will in the future when the project is funded and moves forward. This parcel has appraised for $1,052,975. Some appraisers round, some don't. This one didn't. That works out to $10.51 per square foot, or just a little over $450,000 per acre. And again, it's going to be used for the future SR 73. And thank you to Diane for pulling together this map, which shows a lot of the work that we have been doing along the corridor preservation front. The purple are parcels we've identified that we know we need and have not acquired. We have the one turquoise parcel here that has been approved, but we're working through the closing process. Others in orange, UDOT orange, of course, are already owned by the department. And then we've noted a handful that are already owned by Eagle Mountain, and we anticipate being able to enter into a cooperative agreement with them as the project moves forward. We don't have that yet, but we expect that in due course. Finally, the Advisory Council has given a favorable recommendation to approve this request. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Well, beautiful presentation. Thank you, Charles. It was so detailed. Thank you, Diane, for doing all this mapping for us. Appreciate it. It is good to see visually, as Don always asks, wants to make sure that we see things with our own eyes. And the numbers are good. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
Barlow will make a motion to approve the purchase as described.
Kramer will second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other further questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Item 10 is approved. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. And can I just say, as Commissioner Barlow's terms come to an end, what a pleasure it has been to get to know him and to have the opportunity to work with him. He's a gem, and I am going to miss him tremendously.
Thank you, Charles.
We're all going to miss him, but he's not going too far. We know where he lives. We know where the raspberry shakes are. So we're coming your way. Don't worry.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Item number 11 is informational items. On that is the commission report. Any of you have attended your meetings? If you would like to report briefly about what you did, please go ahead from the top. Commissioner Barlow.
I attended the meeting of the Corridor Preservation Advisory Council where we considered the property that we've just now approved. That was on February 23rd, as I recall.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Kramer?
I was on that same meeting with Commissioner Barlow, and again, extend my praise to Mr. Stormont and his group. It's an excellent way that we get ahead of our issues. And I will miss Wayne's wisdom, and we seconded each other motions with pleasure for many years. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. Donna, anything from you? Any comments?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans?
Besides the normal meetings, I used to appreciate the other ad hoc meetings that Mountain Land and Rob and his team pulled together and invite me to, so to bring me up to speed of how to best support the initiatives down there. So I just wanted to thank them for, we've been talking recently about that whole Mountain View corridor and about even the future going south along the foothills there of Saratoga Springs and continued growth down there. So I just, I appreciate the efforts, the collaborative efforts they're all making down there to plan for the future and keep it moving. So thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Tassel.
I missed a meeting because I was in our training yesterday, but so I have nothing to report.
Okay. Commissioner Cogner.
Nothing to report. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I had an opportunity to attend the DTEC meeting where Myron Lee and of course our region director, Rick Torgerson, they had quite a bit of items to report. Rick really did a fantastic job telling the projects in the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of the Washington County and Southern Utah. It was detailed information that was requested by the Mr. Hart, Chairman Hart of the DTEC. And Myron Lee, of course, talked about the item that I mentioned yesterday that we're going to hear from, hopefully later from Commissioner Gardner regarding the Census Bureau's counting the heads, counting the rooftops versus the numbers of the residents. So, and then I had opportunity to participate in the Community Impact Board. We had 5 projects submitted and approved and forwarded to funding trimester. Those are my reports for the commission reports. Next meeting of the commission will be April 22nd and 23rd, listed as a UDOT complex, but I will assure you that it still will be virtual. So please be patient with us. We'll come to that point that we will have the opportunity to meet in person and enjoy without having to worry about germs and mask touching. So that will be our hope that August, we're hoping and praying that will be August opportunity. So we have to do our own work for that portion. Those are my report. Carlos, anything from you? Anything new, old?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the commission's time yesterday. We spent, almost 3.5 hours yesterday going through the details of in the workshop. And that's really setting us up for, I think, very interesting conversations in our April and May commission meetings. So I appreciate all the commissioners' time and your questions and your level of participation. So thank you.
Terry? Lisa? I don't want a head shake. I want to have some kind of words. Thank you all. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for all you do, for your service, for your cooperation. And thank you, UDOT, for such a wonderful lifeline for one another, helping us, educate us every time and every month. We appreciate your hard work, especially during these challenging months. And Wayne, my dear friend, we truly are going to miss you. Even though we're going to have you for the next few months, we just want to let you know again, you are irreplaceable. You know, the old adage says that friends come for a season. You've touched our lives. You've touched them more than for one season. Thank you. Your service, your kindness, your taking pictures from the projects, your wisdom, and all you do for us for the commission will be missed. And that is for all of you. We really, truly enjoy your cooperation, your friendship, and we truly cherish what you offer to us. Every one of the commission family for sacrificing their husbands or wives, for the UDOT family for doing such a fantastic job. We love you. We love you all and wish you the best. Right now, I just need to have another motion for now, to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
It's not debatable. Thank you all and see you next month. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Safe travels, Kevin.
Yes,
Thank
indeed. Let me know when you arrive.
All right.
You'll know when he hits town. By now.
I owe somebody a Coke, it sounds like.
Have a good trip, Kevin.
Thank you.